What's good, y'all? Welcome back to the Titans Rundown. I am your host, Micah McCamey, and in today's episode, we will be going over a lot of things, actually. Talking about something that happened in free agency today, as of the time that I'm recording this, because today is a Tuesday. I'm going to be breaking down some of the rumors that have been going around, and I will be talking about an offer that went through that we sent for one of the biggest stars in today's game. But before we get into that, though, I have a quick announcement to make. On the 25th, I will be live streaming my reaction to the first round of the NFL draft. Yes. Now, I will probably remind y'all of this so that way, hopefully this isn't a disaster and I just have no one watching, but I am mostly just I'm just doing this so that way I can get some reactions to like what names go out, and I will be recording up until the 8th pick of the second round, aka the last pick that the Titans make. Not as in like I know that they don't happen in the same day. It's just I'll record up until pick 8 on day 2. And then I will, break down all that stuff and grade it and whatnot. I'm also planning during the off season to do some retrospectives on some of my early episodes. First off, the grades were bad. Second off, the quality was bad. So I'm going to spare y'all from having to rewatch the videos like I'm going to have to. So anyway, let's get right on into the rest of today's episode. Starting out with the signing of Sebastian. I can't remember the rest of his name, but it's like 2 last names. So, this dude, Sebastian, defensive tackle, played for the Rams, and he visited with us, I believe it was on Wednesday, and he was just, after a visit, he was like, I want to get this done. I want to be in Tennessee. So, we got it done, and that was, honestly, that was great. So, he had 3 sacks last year and 11 quarterback hits. Now, here's the thing. Could this be just a dude that is riding off of the Aaron Donald hype? Maybe. But could this also be a dude that we can just bring in as a veteran presence on the defensive line that we desperately needed, especially at nose tackle? Absolutely. I think that this is one of the better. This is not the worst signing so far, but it's definitely a little bit. But it's definitely not one of the best. Like, it's not like Lloyd Cushenberry, Calvin Ridley, Tony Pollard. It's not that upper echelon of that stuff. Or I'm not even too sure if this is on the same level as Chidobe Awuzie. But it's still a good signing nonetheless. Like, we got to remember, like, I was on Titans Twitter and I was just hearing whining, like, why can we not sign a defensive tackle? Ran isn't cooking. First off, calm down. All right. Nose tackle is not that important. Second off, I trust in Ran. Ran has a way. Ran will commit to that way and we'll all be fine. And we'll all sing and dance. Like, people got to remember that. So, anyway, yeah, I think it's a good signing. Now, hopefully he has that same production around Big Jeff that he did around Aaron Donald. But I'm thinking that even if it's not because of Jeffrey Simmons, I'm thinking that, like, Denard Wilson may be able to get something out of him, you know what I'm saying? Be able to make that push. And I guess I'll give this a B+, mostly just because I don't know how else to grade it. So, anyway, let's get into another subject. Now, this one I'm a little upset about. And I still trust in Rand, but I am a little worried about this right here, all right? Let's talk about the right tackle situation. What's the plan exactly? Like, I don't know what we're trying to do here, because, like, obviously, we're not going to start Nicholas Petit Frere or Dylan Radens, or heck, I wouldn't even start. I would not start any of the dudes on the roster for the life of me right now. So, like, I'm interested to see what his plan is, but I'm not too sure if I'm following right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm not too sure if I am completely just like, oh yeah, this will be fine. But I am hearing about Andrus Peat coming in to visit with the Titans, and honestly, I know that some people will be like, why are we trying to go get a left tackle whenever we can just go get Alt? But here's the thing. We can just get JC Latham by either, trading back, or we just stay where we are and get JC Latham and have that right tackle of the future. And then in the second round, we draft another left tackle, an experimental left tackle, and we let him develop under Bill Callahan while Andrus Peat starts for the next year or two. So I trust in Ran, but I am a little worried about that, if I'm being completely honest. Ran is the man with the plan. That rhymed. He's got he's got most of it figured out, and I'm not going to try and play GM from this chair because there's a reason that I'm here and not in a Titans front office. I mean, I know that I'm 16, so I probably wouldn't even be, but even whenever I'm older, I'm not going to be in a Titans front office. I just want to let that be known right now, unless it's the play-by-play commentator or something, which I don't even think that's realistic. So, anyway, yeah, I don't have that much else to say about this, because I think that people are panicking a little bit too much about the right tackle situation, like they were about the defensive tackle situation. But anyway, moving on, we've got rumors going. There's a rumor going around. There's a rumor going around about me and you. That's a great song. Anyway, so Marcus May, safety from New Orleans, I believe he's about 30 years old, is rumored to become a Tennessee Titan. Now, whenever I tell you that this is a good thing, this is a good thing. I think that he would do wonders alongside Amani Hooker. I'm still upset that we didn't go get Geno Stone. That would have been... I would have had full confidence in our defense this year if we would have gotten Geno Stone. That has been Rand's biggest mistake, at least in my opinion. Anyway, so the Marcus May rumors are heating up just a little bit. Now, I'm hoping that we can go get him, but even then, I would like to fall back on Justin Simmons. And even if that doesn't happen, I say that we just, write it out, let some crappy safety play happen alongside Amani Hooker, and then we try and go get a safety during the next offseason. But, I'm getting ahead of myself. What I'm basically saying is that I think that is a great partner to go along with Amani Hooker. And he is older, he's more experienced, and frankly, he has played better than most of the safeties that we've had. Oh yeah, also, so anyway, moving on. This also leads into a segment that I didn't list here, but I've realized that it is something that I need to address. Kayvon Wallace has become a Seattle Seahawk. Okay, so I am a little upset about this. I think that my Twitter post, follow me on Twitter at the Titans Rundown, but I think that my Twitter post sums it up best whenever I tell you that whenever I tell you that I am upset about Kayvon Wallace leaving, but I wasn't too sure what he was going to... I don't know if I said this on the dot. I may be completely off, but I'm not too sure what he's going to do next season, and those may have been a couple of games where it was just a little stretch where he was playing really well, and he's just not going to play that well, permanently, So like a mini Linsanity run without the clout. But, I'm not as mad about this as Titans fans are. I'm definitely not as mad as Glory Holes on Twitter, because I know that he really loved himself some Kevon Wallace. So, sorry about that, bro. But we gotta revamp the defense. Like we gotta get like a completely new defense, except for keep Big Jeff, Amani Hooker, and Roger McCreary, if you will. Also, I'm a little upset that we didn't keep Sean Murphy Bunting, but that's fine because I know that he doesn't really fit the scheme of Sean Murphy Bunting. So, anyway, now we move on to the next major subject. Now, this is something that caught me off guard personally. So, just today, according to Kansas City radio, the Titans had a trade offer for L'Jarius Sneed. They had it set up, they had it ready, but I guess that didn't go through. So, here is what happened. This is an assumption, okay? I'm not too sure if this actually happened, but what I'm pretty sure that happened was that L'Jarius wanted more money, and the Chiefs wanted more value. They wanted us to offer a second, and they wanted us to offer this year's second, which, like I said earlier, with if we sign Andrus Peat and then get a right tackle in the draft, that means that we have to wait for a left. That means that we would have to get a left tackle in the second, either that or draft someone in the draft next year. But I can't go one more year with seeing a crappy left tackle play. So, anyway, this was something that heated up. And this is something that makes me, a little happy, Ran Carthon definitely did try and make that move. He tried to go out, he tried to go get his guy, but it just didn't work out that well, So, yeah, L'Jarius Sneed is an absolute just dog, obviously. So, saying that he would help change our defense would be an understatement, a massive understatement, if you will, because that would make our secondary ridiculous. Like, we have one of the best cornerback ones in the league, a higher half cornerback 2, and probably the most underrated cornerback 3 in the league in Roger McCreary. So, say what you will, but that would have been one of the best trio cornerbacks in the entire NFL, and I don't think that, and I honestly think it could be the best. But Chiefs wanted more, L'Jarius wanted more. I get it. Dude, imagine if we paid him the AJ contract, which is what he's asking for. Excuse me. If he got the AJ contract, Twitter would never. Sorry, X would never let us live that down. They would be like, "Oh, so you can pay a defensive back $100 million for 4 years, but you can't pay AJ Brown 4 years $100 million." Hey, newsflash, you dingo! All right, that's a completely different front office with a completely different philosophy towards players. All right, I need to get that off of my chest. Because holy cow, so many uneducated people on social media are talking about how, we paid Calvin Ridley, but we couldn't pay AJ Brown, and act like Vrabel had nothing to do with it. Vrabel was definitely a part of that. I don't mean to, try and get the Vrabel stands upset, but he definitely had some say in that. He wasn't 100% just oh yeah, we need to trade AJ Brown, but he was probably like, if it needs to be done, it needs to be done, which it shouldn't have been done. All right, imagine if we still let me get this straight. All right, so if we ended up drafting Will Levis, which I think would have been a massive possibility, even if we still had AJ, because even if we had a better record, that would mean that AJ would go to the man, why can I not remember this? That would have meant that, we would have probably gone to the playoffs with AJ for one last year, which means that we would have had a later pick, which also means that we could have drafted Will Levis. Still. So, imagine what Will Levis would have been doing in that offense with A.J. Brown. I'm already imagining some amazing things are going to happen whenever he has Calvin Ridley and D-Hop to throw to. A.J. Brown is a top 5 receiver in the NFL right now. Imagine that. Imagine if John Robinson wasn't a stupid person and decided, hey, I'm not going to trade my top 5 receiver. I'm going to pay the man. All right, I had to get that off of my chest. But going back to L'Jarius Sneed. So, L'Jarius Sneed, I'm hoping that we can get an offer out on the table and that the Chiefs are willing to accept it. If anything, I'm just hoping that he hits the free agent market next year and then we go pay him. Next year is going to be the big year where we go get a L'Jarius Sneed. We go get a T. Higgins. Those types of players, So, now, how about this? I got another rant for y'all. That other rant was completely unplanned. This rant was planned. It's just that I purposefully didn't say anything about it in the intro, so y'all would be surprised. And this one's going to have to be a shorter rant, but here's the thing. The Titans trade down conversations need to stop. For goodness sakes, all right, I get it. Olu could drop to 11. And we could trade down and get future draft capital. But here's the problem. We cannot afford to pass up on whatever generational talent is left after that top 6. All right? Because we can have a pick between Joe Alt, Malik Neighbors, Roma Dunzi, and it's even rumored that Marvin Harrison Jr. may drop to 7. So, here's the thing. If we trade down, then we're missing out on one of those 4 guys. All right? Now, Titans Twitter talks about right now being the GMs of the team talking about how, we should trade down. Now, no offense to anyone that is saying that, because I follow a lot of those people, and they're great content creators. Don't get me wrong. But, trading down to 7... or trading down from the 7th pick would mean that we miss out on Joe Alt, who is, imagine that, Joe Alt, Peter Skoronski, on the same side of the offensive line, on the same team for the next 10 years, 15 maybe. I don't know how bad the team's going to be from this point on. It could get really ugly if Will Levis doesn't work out, but those 2 on the left side are going to be consistently great. All right, and I'm willing, and I saw somebody talk about how there are growing pains for a left tackle next year, for their rookie year. I don't care. Next year's not even meant to be something. Next year is meant to be flashes, and that's it. All right, if we can afford to have a rookie struggle at left tackle. We were able to afford Skoronski having struggle at left guard. Yeah, as you can tell, I am not pleased with trying to trade down from 7. Now, if we sign Andrus Peat and, we can trade down and go get a J.C. Latham, I'm completely fine with that. But I will remind y'all, remember what happened to the last right tackle that was highly touted coming out of Alabama? Did he work out that well? And if you don't know who I'm talking about Evan Neal, who was a starter on one of the worst offensive lines. Actually, probably the worst offensive line in the NFL. That's Titans included. And that says a lot. So, anyway, I think that's it for today's episode. So, I have Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and for the people that are listening over a podcasting form, I have YouTube. So if you want to go check that out, that's great. So, I got nothing else to say. So that's gonna do it all for me. This has been a rundown of what the Tennessee Titans have done this offseason. I love y'all, and tighten up.